This is Chris Jones with Authentic Leader. Thanks again for joining me today. I saw this tree and I could not resist doing this next video right next to this. This is just a whole bunch of mushrooms actually going all the way up this tree. And actually, now that I'm looking at the tree, it looks like the tree is dead, which I guess makes sense why there's mushrooms all over this. But I just thought it was a fascinating backdrop for this video, so I just couldn't pass it up. So we're continuing our conversation about podcasts, and we are down to number 7 in my top 10 podcasts that I listen to. Number 7 is Jeff Brown's Read to Lead. Jeff Brown actually used to be a radio show host, and you can tell by listening to him. He's got a terrific radio voice and really knows how to speak well in a podcast. Probably one of the very best spoken podcasters that I listen to. It's just simply a joy just to listen to him. But his interviewing skills are impeccable. He really knows how to interview people and draw out great information with his guests. But his whole philosophy is that readers lead and leaders read. Every podcast he interviews a new author of a book. And if you're looking for reading or trying to find some books to read, this is absolutely the podcast that you need to listen to. I have gotten some real gems in books that I would have never been exposed to if I had not been listening to the Read to Lead podcast. He asks a series of questions and really gives you a very good picture of the books that are really good to read and that you'll really get a lot out of. Even if you don't buy some of these books, the interviews are so good, you feel like you get value from the book even without purchasing it. Many times the books are so good that, that's not enough for me and I need to even get more, so it's worth actually purchasing the book as well. But it's a great way to test out a book before actually going out and purchasing it. So Jeff Brown, he's got a great story. I suggest you listen to his story. He was actually laid off of his job in radio, and in the meantime, he thought he would start a podcast. And his podcast ends up being very successful and just has taken off ever since. He is absolutely the authority in podcasts, all about reading and reading books. It's a tremendous resource. You can just go through and search his podcast for books that you might want to listen to or actually might want to read, and listen to the podcast, and you'll know absolutely from just listening to the podcast if it's something that you want to go out and purchase. So we do have a free download this month. This is at ChristopherRJones.com/download1116, where you can get your free ebook download that lists all the podcasts that I listen to, all the podcasts I've been highlighting this entire month. So make sure you go to my website and download that. Make sure you come back tomorrow where we will highlight number 6 on my top 10 list. In the meantime, bring out the best in your leadership.